third place decider match between MarineLorD and VortiX.
All right, KP. Well, the sheep are bleating.
They're ready to welcome us in.
Chopping. It's time for us to go. Game number 1, ladies and gentlemen, of your bronze match final. Spawning in on the north side of the map in the color blue. As the Malians representing Izzy Esports, it is MarineLorD.
And on the other side, someone that will not be so easy to slay. He's been a god in the round so far in Golden League. Find himself towards the very end multiple times, but here he cannot make it to the final series. He can at least try to get a third place, though. So one and only VortiX playing as the Deli.
All right, well, we've got ourselves an absolute cracker of a game for you guys tonight. I'm confident this is going to be pretty awesome because we've got the Delhi on Dry Arabia, and that is a civilization that just goes so incredibly well on this map, KP. I love watching Delhi players on this map. It's a big open map. They can run their cavalry around. Most importantly, use that mobility to control their sacred sites. Expect to see early walls up. Expect to see plenty of units out here for VortiX. MarineLorD's going to have a tough time dealing with all of this pressure.
It's interesting to think about the way that a lot of Delhi players typically play on this map as well, right? You mentioned that idea of walling, securing sacred site after sacred site. Feels like a strategy that works a lot better against civs that typically build range units. But what we've been seeing out of Malian players, at least in the feudal aggression, is quite the opposite, right? The mass scouts, the potential for sofas, ways of breaking through those walls. I'm curious to see what VortiX's answer is going to be because we've seen some experimentation with the Malians. I say experimentation. People found one busted combo and just kept mixing the brew, right? But it's at a stage where there hasn't really necessarily been as many permutations played against the Delhi in the Malian-Delhi clash than if we were talking about, say, even Delhi Ottomans, which got played a lot more when they first got released, or Delhi Abbasids, or even Delhi French, if that somehow appeared in this series.
Yeah, I think you're 100% on point. It is a civilization matchup that is not as common as we typically see. I wonder why that is exactly. Is it that you see, I guess Delhi, they're typically favored towards more open maps. They like that style, whereas the Malians, I mean, you do see that as well, but yeah, for some reason, you don't often see them pitted up against each other. So I guess it's going to be a learning experience for me, but we see that MarineLorD's already put down 6 houses around his pit mine. So going for, I guess what you'd probably call the standard. I mean, typically you either see 2 or 6. Sometimes you do occasionally see the 4, but a bit more of a greedy opening here. What do you think the chances are that he's going to be going into the Saharan Trade Network?
I don't think it's necessary here, right? Like, yeah, you're not going to give up the free resources. I think some that really kind of clicked in people's heads very quickly, especially the scout build for the Malians, is before you went for this defense on your pit mine because you were trying to go fast castle, right? You were going for the Farimba rush. But now you're present and able in feudal age. We've seen these masses of sofas, warrior scouts, and archers building up. So if you are contesting map control, why would you give up 2 free villages worth of gathering at the start of feudal age? It just doesn't make sense anymore, right?
Take a look at this. Underneath MarineLorD's town center, it looks like there are no sheep present, and we saw a whole bunch of villagers that were just idle, sitting still for a moment. We'll get Vodka to go over and have a look.
Oh, he went straight into cow.
Looks like he went straight into a cow because there's no sheep there at all. He's got 13 herdable sheep somewhere. Excuse me, sir. Where?
Okay, they've arrived.
Hello.
He went for the wide lap. He's like, nah. You gotta allow the sheep to kind of skip through the meadows, be happy for a moment in their life, Drongo, before you take him to the butcher house.
So just decided to go for a quick cow before. Did a quick stop by. But yeah, interesting decision from MarineLorD, because normally you'd expect those scouts to be in before 3 minutes to deliver sheep, but he obviously went for a huge lap there.
Does it really feel like that much of a detriment for MarineLorD, though? Like, I'm just looking at how much gold he's got. It didn't really mess with his tech timing too much. And he does at least get that superior gathering rate on the cattle before moving on to a slow rate on the sheep, right? So it's a trade-off, but that's kind of one of the wacky things about this Civ compared to other ones. The really big loss for him, if anything, is the fact he had to build the mill so early.
Yeah, definitely the case. And we do now see that the stables are beginning to come down, so no real surprises just yet. Looking for his... Not looking for professional scouts just yet, but looking to pick up warrior scouts. And, of course, double broadaxe is also coming through for MarineLorD. Over on the other side, though, VortiX looking to pick up his Tier 1 upgrades and just going with a single blacksmith opening to start us off.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising how VortiX has evolved. You go back, like, 2 months ago, I would have had him always penned as the guy who goes double blacksmiths. I think, like, you know, him and DeMusliM are probably the two most frequent occurrers that I can recall. But VortiX has really kind of changed up the build. More kind of, I want to say, streamlined towards getting map control. Whereas when you go for that double blacksmith, you're forfeiting the first few units in your favor, right? So you have to remain a bit more turtley.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a more versatile build order that we've been seeing. Players often looking to just pick up enough gold for the second scholar, not ever going into the third one, and always favoring the Tower of Victory. The Tower of Victory seems to be the go-to landmark lately.
And I like what you say about the idea of flexibility, right? Because if you go for that extra blacksmiths, that's 150 wood that you've expended not into a transition of unit type. So by actually not going for a second blacksmith, you remain more flexible to what you're going to be facing in the mid-map. And by the way, that is a very long way to run out for a pit mine, but you can see by the way the map has generated, I don't feel like MLord had many great options here safe near the base.
Yeah, I think that's probably about the best that you can get, isn't it? I mean, you could go towards the middle of the map, but against the deli, it's a little bit dangerous to be going that far. And we do see spears now coming out. To have a look at this, MarineLorD going to be looking to go up against them. Keep in mind the healing on these warrior scouts is incredible. So he's going to be able to fight up against them and not have to worry too much about losing these units. Because worst case scenario, he just runs away and heals up for another day.
Oh no, you almost killed me. Well, seeing as you almost killed me, and I'm basically the modern rendition in RTSs of Call of Duty health regen, I'll be back in a few seconds. I mean, it's kind of insane that we still have this, and I've got a feeling we will for a while longer. These warrior scouts are such an oppressive element of gameplay right now. And it's kind of crazy because while I believe they got their buff quite recently, right? And the crazy part is that I believe it coincided with the nerf to combat healing that crippled a bunch of other civs, one of them in this game, the Deli.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to me the way that the balance decision or direction went, because I remember when warrior scouts initially came out, it was this crazy regen, and it got nerfed down to the ground, but for some reason it's come back. What I also find interesting is that it's just always on regen. It's not this kind of out of combat regen that we're so used to seeing on things like the Knights, as an example, or even the Abbey of Kings, a landmark that heals up. But a little bit of a raid attempt going to come through. VortiX doing a great job of just chopping into that forest, not looking to go around the edges, and as a result, MarineLorD having to back out there.
This is really frustrating for VortiX, right? He built a second Scholar, he paid the full 150 gold. He hasn't gotten any value out of that so far. He's running back and forth between his base. He's yet to capture a Sacred Site. Now he's able to get out there. Of course, he had to wait for the timing, but you know his goal, I think, was to move out, get the walls up, and then leave that Scholar alone. Now he has to babysit it.
Yeah, MarineLorD's doing a really good job of just keeping VortiX on his toes. He's looking very solid today with the way he keeps coming in, keeps putting on pressure, and obviously these scouts just continue healing up behind the scenes. Has MarineLorD moved into professional scouts at this point, do you think?
I want to say no, based on like the gold and the fact he's got wheelbarrow into the ecotechs. It doesn't seem like it's there. Obviously, that's on VortiX's side. We've seen the pro scouts come. You know, it's kind of for free when you're the Deli, so you don't care. But
yeah, so no professional scouts just yet. Always obviously has the option with 10 scouts on the map. They're going to start adding in archers now and looking to neutralize the central sacred site. Scholar going to be moving on over towards that west sacred site by itself. Very dangerous to go out there all by itself, but looks like reinforcements going to come through to the central sacred site. VortiX should be able to hold both of the sacred sites with relative ease against these units.
Well, you'd think, Drongo, but he's quite split, and MarineLorD just ambushed him with this archer mass. He waited until he had 6 or 7, so now you're going to lose the center unless you want to just kind of forfeit the sides. And the problem that you have with your VortiX is, you haven't got into cavalry yet, so you need to play the shortest route until you're ready to flex the flanks. And, well, now the commitment's going to come in. These warrior scouts, remember, they can be a nuisance, but in a staged fight, they cannot stand their ground. MarineLorD has to give up the archers.
Yeah, so throws away the archers, but there are victories on the other side of the map, over on the west side of the map, where that sacred site was initially being captured. It was neutralized by MarineLorD, and he's able to chase that scholar away. Keep in mind, these scholars are very expensive. With the Tower of Victory and no Dome of the Faith, it's going to mean he's paying full price for each of these scholars.
Whew. That's going to burn a hole in your pocket real quick. I mean, of course, he does get the benefit, the attack speed in return. And that will serve him well, especially in this feudal age, right? The big edge that you get from Marleyan archers comes later in the game when you get access to the poison. That is, of course, locked behind the castle age.
Look at this route that MarineLorD has got going on right now. just able to do so much damage here. Doesn't have to worry about the town center at all. That's the other great thing about moving into these scouts. So very strong, so flexible in the early game, but we start to see upgrades coming through for MarineLorD as well. He's picked up ranged armor, looking to pick up ranged attack as well, and continues pumping out archers, but a bit of a mix coming through. Heading into Sofa Warriors now.
Yeah, and the Sofas the danger, right? Warrior Scouts will idle you a little bit on the villagers, but the Sofas will actually kill you. Now, Vortex should have textiles already in prep for this coming, as most Delhi players will. But he's still going to be forced to kind of split his forces, right? He hasn't actually got that many spearmen in the grand scheme of things when you consider how many cavalry could ambush him somewhere else. He probably wants to put that number up to like 15 or 16 to feel safe, but won't feel safe until he's got at least probably 10 horsemen and I want to say close to 30 archers alongside that.
Another raid on the south side now. Chased away by a spear and a handful of horsemen. But for the moment, everything just seems to be playing out a little bit slowly. The fact that VortiX has managed to capture 2 sacred sites is a great thing for him. I'm curious how it stacks up, though, against the Malians. We mentioned earlier that we haven't really seen this matchup a lot. Comparing the Delhi up against the Ottomans, we've seen games before where Delhi have held 3 sacred sites and still lost out to a feudal age Ottomans.
Well,
the Malians are strong in the feudal age. Are they as strong as the Ottomans, though? That's the question I want to ask.
And well, the question is, like, does VortiX know what's happening behind this, right? Like, you can kind of debate this back and forth if they keep building the same thing, but what I'm noticing is MarineLorD is layering. He's adding in Donzos, he's adding the Sofas. There's a risk that VortiX gets caught off guard by this because Czech is scouting, right? He has the vision around the sacred sites, but that's literally it. So now, MarineLorD is going to make his move into the center, and VortiX is simply not strong enough to contest him. This is the key factor as well, by the way, Drongo, to, like, actually come back to your point is, I think Donzos have been kind of underrated for a very long time. They've been seen as a meme. But now when we start seeing them layered in as the third comp in a feudal aggression, they can be dominant. And they can easily just punish you because they have that hybridized attack.
Well, the push continues coming through. Archer's looking to tee off, managing to snipe out a fair few of those Donzos. He's doing a great job with the scouts on the front, just making sure that he's buffering against any of those horseman attacks. And now looking to loop in, he actually snipes out the scout that was on the sacred site. He keeps it in his control, but the numbers here looking good. And the Sofa's going to be able to sweep down onto those archers. KP, this is starting to look a little bit scary for VortiX.
I mean, they're just munching through him. That was key from MarineLorD. That was perfection. The way he body blocked on the left flank prevented half the horsemen from engaging on the archers. And it meant that VortiX had to double down with his own archer mass to counter out the component on the other side. Meanwhile, these Sofa are just getting tickled the whole while, right? And this has been a very kind of slow process for MarineLorD. He hasn't just doubled down on Sofas like we see so many players doing. This Donzo factor has made these fights so much more intensive and annoying for VortiX. It's just another level of micro he has to worry about that MarineLorD doesn't have to the same degree.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Archers now looking to hold the sacred site. It looks like a neutralization will come through here. He's going to be rallying all of his units onto this sacred site, make sure he wants to keep it. The archer's going to continue pushing out. He's got this nice little gate that he can just pop in and out of, and as long as he's able to hold a decent number of archers, he should be able to retain the sacred site. That's exactly what he does. The gold's starting to stack up for him. He's adding in scholars behind this as well, looking to finalize those upgrades. He's got his melee armor coming through now. But everything looking relatively even despite the difference in sacred sites at this point.
It's kind of deceptively even, right? Because you think the sacred sites, they're great, they're going to keep working for VortiX, but what I'm seeing is a situation where MarineLorD is grabbing techs that otherwise he'd be denied because he needs to invest that gold while VortiX only needs time. This is really how you have to address the Delhi, though, right? The reason why MarineLorD just keeps getting sucked into these battles and skirmishing like this is VortiX does have that passive gold trickle, but he's trading it away, right, Drongo? He's getting worse and worse exchanges the longer this feudal goes on. And the longer MarineLorD keeps him here, the less likely it is that you can then just immediately trade 1,000 gold to afford your castle age.
Yeah, that's a honestly really, really good point. The numbers are going to be looking really good for MarineLorD, though. Still, the military numbers are even, but at this fight, at this point right now, MarineLorD looks like he might be able to push him off the sacred site. He's got the archer numbers to do it. Should be able to hold position on this sacred site, and with that, we'll be neutralizing this central sacred site and pushes VortiX down to a single site. But hold on, hold your horses, KP.
We're going to be here
until
for a
the
while.
fat lady sings.
Yeah, we're never leaving. That choke point is in some ways working against VortiX, right? Like, he can't even think about going mass horseman while the walls are up. I don't think he can even afford a mass horseman at this stage, by the way. You can see he's already south of this, outside of his base on the deer stacks. This is critical that VortiX holds his ground in this area because it's not just the sacred site at risk after this. It's all of his economy that is no longer safely at home.
The horseman numbers are starting to build, though, and they're managing to clean out the defensive archers. I was thinking it was starting to look good for MarineLorD, but as soon as that happened, the horsemen started getting their stabby sticks out and stabbed all of those archers dead.
Yeah, but for good reason, because MarineLorD's getting his techie stick out. Like, look at that resource he's starting to bank up. He could easily just consider teching up after this. He's going to reinvest because these sofas are premium and they're dominating. But what I'm seeing is a situation where VortiX is being burnt out. He's kind of being grinded down. And MarineLorD, the reality is that I would not expect him to hang around in Castle Age much longer than this, because the Sacred Sites kind of have become a moot factor. You're seeing it in VortiX's resources. Like, he's nowhere near ready for a tech up, despite the fact he's had 2 Sacred Sites for how many minutes now?
It's been a while. It's been going on 6 minutes, 7 minutes, somewhere around that region. But the age up does come through from MarineLorD. The eternal fight over the Sacred Site has finally finished, he says, as the second round begins. But it looks like MarineLorD is just happy to... Yeah, definitely seems the case. It looks like MarineLorD's happy to let him have that Sacred Site. Look, you can keep 2 out of 3. I'll let you. That way you're at least not going to get the Sacred Site victory triggered off or anything like that. But Age Up's coming through. What are we going to be expecting from MarineLorD here with the Castle Age?
More sofas. So many sofas, you'll feel like you're kind of working one of those charity stores, right, that gives furniture to the needy. Like, it's going to get absurd here. With the potential of imported armors, the fact he now knows that VortiX is no longer safely gathering in his base, he's just going to play the wide flanks. And now VortiX, quite the pickle he finds himself in, right? Like, he's nowhere near ready to tech up. He's got this massive forces, but they're not big enough or strong enough to dive the base. He's probably going to have to hunker down and maybe rely on Spearman to get him up towards Castle Age, if that's even possible.
Pretty decent surround here, though. Able to push back a lot of these archers. Donzo's trying their best to do some work, but getting picked off by the enemy archers. But now the horseman number's going to continue dwindling, slowly but steadily, able to take them all out. The upgrade's going to start coming through on MarineLorD's side. +2 ranged armor going to be the first upgrade he looks to pick up here. Has he got veteran see-through on his archers yet? It looks like they've got some cool little helmets now. Yeah,
it's not just the helmets that are cool. Their bows seem to have become magically more potent, and you're noticing on the horseman's health even in small numbers. That's why that attack, it looks really succulent, but the way that MarineLorD just kept backing up, delaying it, VortiX just couldn't bite down hard enough, fast enough here. And, well, he does at least protect his flank against those sofas, but that was the appetizer, Drongo, right? Now we're in key Malian territory. This is where we can consider things like the upgraded sofas that pack a wallop, as well as the imported armors that will allow him to take a pounding in response as well.
Yeah, this is very hard to deal with right now. The Malian combo, this is where I find they hit their power spike. It's once all of these archers start getting their upgrades through, +2 range attack, the poison arrows, that's when it starts to get really dangerous. But you can see that VortiX has got a pretty decent mass here. Looks to try and push the issue, but falls back for the moment. Just going to wait for that age up to come through, and we head into the compound of the defender. No real surprise there. A landmark that's seen pretty much close to 100% pick rate whenever the deli is picked in this event. I don't think... Have we even seen the House of Learning once?
No, because I don't know about you, Drongo. I don't like learning, okay? You know, I like to just believe I know everything until I get my ass stomped and have to go to consult some guides, but... I'm a bit disappointed. I was hoping we were going to see some people carrying houses and shooting at people, right? It's like English plus at that stage in terms of turtling. But no, it's Compound Defender's just too good. Like they made some ridiculous juicings to this landmark that make no sense. I don't understand why you're able to start researching the village fortresses from that landmark. I think that is fundamentally the most busted thing in conjunction with the buffs to its research time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I remember when I saw that change, I just couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, so you're telling me that I can get the compound of the defender to research this immediately? I don't have to wait for a keep to research it, and you're going to reduce the time it takes to research it? You guys are too sweet. And definitely that propelled Delhi quite far up the tier list, but take a look at all the upgrades that we've got VortiX coming through right now. So Village Fortresses is obviously on the way. Yet to move over any villages onto stone, but expect that to happen pretty soon.
Yeah, like sometimes players will just delay because you still want to build your army, you still want to get extra gold so you can afford the tech upgrades. But you can see you've got, like, what was it, about 3 minutes, 20 seconds until it's researched. So you'll see him probably optimize to start gathering on the stone and have enough stone probably about 30 to 40 seconds before Village Fortresses completes. That's a brilliant way to go when you're trying to turtle an area. Sometimes you see players rush stone, but that's when they need to keep drop in an area to secure a sacred site. Right now, I don't think that's VortiX's win condition.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. And even though having those keeps a little bit sooner is always nice, It's definitely not needed at this point, but upgrades, big upgrades coming through from MarineLorD. Imported armor together with poisoned arrows. He pushes through to the front side. Sofa going to be looking to try their best to body block here against the enemy lancers, but the numbers are looking pretty good from VortiX. Pushing out with the archers, yet to get their veterancy upgrade through, but it's not going to matter. The lancer numbers looking incredibly solid as he crushes the enemy position. There's nothing here to even deal with these lancers.
Man, this was a bluff if I've ever seen it from MarineLorD. He postured in a way as if he was much stronger, and VortiX called him on it. That was a brilliant read there, because sometimes you'll be a bit paranoid. Maybe he does have the poison arrows, and I can't take this fight. But VortiX realizes, when you're pushed into a corner like this, well, it's either fight here or lose my villages. I think MarineLorD, he overfelt himself, and now he realizes that the Delhi are not as far behind as he originally intended here. He has at least secured a lot of the relics in the meantime, so VortiX won't get the lion's share there. But we're like, what, halfway to village fortresses? MarineLorD has to realize that even as the Malians, you are on the clock here, especially when you take losses like this.
And that's exactly it. There's a couple of other scaling factors here. It's not just village fortresses. There's sacred sites in play. There's relics, and he's been able to deny those. But with the village fortresses, that's really what's going to be the primary factor here in driving it. But poisoned arrows coming through villages. This isn't looking good, KP. Nice little pick off there for VortiX.
I mean, he has no other gold. Like, check the map. This is the worst thing from MarineLorD. He knew this time was coming. It was inevitable. Even if he played the flanks, he's no longer secure. Earlier on in the game, it was a static comp from the Delhi. But the moment they added in cavalry, his only option was to play down the center line because he's just as reliant on his infantry as VortiX is on the other side.
MarineLorD just trying to pump archers at this point. Needs to get that big mass going. But keep in mind, the more archers you've got out in the field, the more likely it is that your enemy is going to be moving towards a mangonel, especially when VortiX is running low on food like he is at the moment, as Vodka has just pointed out, sitting on 150 food per minute. Not a lot of food, especially when you're getting pushed in like this. Compare that over to MarineLorD, who's sitting on more than 800. It is definitely a bit dire over on the side of the Delhi.
Yeah, it's because he's making a farm transition. It's not a good feeling to have to do that, right? In comparison, what do the Malians do? Sure, they'll have to pay for cattle, but what's the one resource you've got plenty of to afford? It's going to be gold, right? So you don't care. And now we're going to see that keep drop. Like, this is kind of a do or die type thing. If VortiX gets caught doing this, if this fails, I wouldn't be surprised if he waves the white flag.
Yeah, I would be thinking the same thing. The numbers here are looking pretty good from MarineLorD. He is looking to hit his timing. Keep that in mind that there are plenty of upgrades that have just come through. The archer numbers are starting to look good, and the villagers do get caught out of position. Lord Doubt, don't smile upon him today. VortiX is in trouble. Villagers starting to get picked off. Donzo's moving forward as well. There's so many, and good game just gets called immediately, KP.
Doubt ain't smiling. Doubt is crying right now. He knows this feeling all too well, and VortiX and him will have to share a drink. Game one goes the way of MarineLorD. After maybe a little bit overly aggressive push just a few moments ago, you see how quickly the Malian tide can turn it around in Castle Age. And I mean, this could have been over even quicker, by the way, Drongo. The fight I'm talking about, we saw it, the one that VortiX was able to hold. Imagine if MarineLorD had waited for the poison arrows. He wouldn't have even needed this secondary assault. It shows you just how strong the Malians are at this point in the game. And VortiX, like, the only way you feel strong as a Delhi in this type of positioning is if you have 3 sacred sites and you're able to distract him. You don't want that direct engagement. And I think it's a weird dynamic, right? Because we mentioned earlier in the game that the Malian player doesn't want a direct conflict.
All right, well, nothing too crazy happened during that ad break. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for game number 2. We got ourselves a classic matchup. We got the Rus, we got the Mongols, and we got 2 of the world's best players to play with each other.
Play with each other as if they're sitting there patter-caking happily. This is murder. Not on the dance floor. In the lobby, Drongo. All right? There's a lot on the line here. The difference between 3rd and 4th, an extra $1,500. $1,500. Did you hear that number? Do you know how many subs you could get on Twitch with $1,500?
Carry the one. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's like at least 3 digits worth.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it depends what currency you do it in, but yeah, $1,500. That's quite a bit.
Okay, but how about this for currencies that we're dealing in here? On the one side, I can sell you fish. On the other, gold. Are we gonna see it?
I think you may. I think you may. All right, well, we got ourselves. It's a classic matchup. Rus versus Mongols. We see this one quite a lot, especially on water-oriented maps. It looks like today VortiX is going to be sneaking himself a little dock in here, but no surprise, this one does obviously get spotted out by MarineLorD straight away. Now, the question is going to be, what does MarineLorD look to move into? And I suspect the answer is going to be spears, early spears, And indeed it is. Early spears.
It's always got to be, isn't it? And it's an interesting matchup, this one, right? Like, the Roost, typically you'll see them saved for more desirable water maps ones, right? Ones that aren't necessarily having you run across the map to even build a dock. Things like Holy Island come to mind. In this environment, I actually favor the Mongols because now, even if the Roost player wants to try and get his fishing online, with this Spearman opening, you can't, right? Because the delay getting on your tech up, even with the bounty on your side, feels like you'll lose the dock by the time you arrive. Now, there is at least one silver lining for a Roost player, and that's that you don't need a dock to get your initial feudal boats out. So even if VortiX does lose this dock down the line, remember that the fishing boats to the Roost don't need a drop-off point. And if he does see MarineLorD trying to move onto the water himself, he can always just abracadabra a fishing boat into an archer ship.
Yeah, that's one of the best ways to deal with it. The other thing to note is he can just look to try and prevent these spears from getting through. The problem he's going to have is this Khan is down here and can look to put on some pressure. But of course, we do see the wall is going to be going up, and it looks like MarineLorD will be looking to block. Now, he can just block it with the sheep. He can just leave the sheep right where that wall should go. Let's see if he does it. And you can see him... Oh, it looked like he split up, but changes his mind at the last second.
So it's one of those awkward situations where, you can't even kill the sheep quickly, right? Because the Khan is so pathetic. So it's like... There is an argument to be made if he spent his time, trying to kill a sheep when it was in the way of like a wall placement versus just hitting the villager. Maybe it works out better. But, hindsight 2020. Now he has to build a lot more spearmen if he wants to breach, because you're mentioning those walls going up as the succulent solution. We have to remember the Roost ones are fortified palisade walls, which for some reason build the same speed,
faster,
even quicker, I believe.
I'm pretty sure it's quicker. It's a bit ludicrous. Now, we've seen players come up with very creative ways to deal with these walls, but most notably, my favorite is just the dock into transport ship straight across the edge and just bringing over a couple of friendly spear boys to deal with this dock.
Be a fan of it. And, well, first things first, let's make sure there's no villager to create wall upon wall here. Poor little guy. He knows this was a death mission that he took upon himself. Now, obviously, once again, VortiX, even if he loses this dock, he will still get a fish, he will still get value, but remember, MarineLorD will also get a little bit of payday in response.
Look at this. The cheeky little villager somehow managed to keep himself alive or herself alive. Look at it go.
Oh, it's camouflage.
That is the easiest dodge.
Drongo, it's camouflage. Look at all that gold. You don't know they're there anymore, right?
Why do you think these players pick a blue and yellow?
Exactly.
Blue for the water, yellow for the edge of the map.
Like the rule when you used to go up against core was just pick green. You can't see it. I remember casting those games. The guy got confused by it. There are amazing strategies out there. Like we really need a lava map though. I feel like red gets thrown under the bus.
I didn't actually know that, and I feel sorry for all the times that I haven't picked a green against core. But I'll make sure I do that in the future. But we got ourselves an age up coming through. VortiX going with a very quick age up. 9 villagers on the Kremlin, so he's going to be looking for couple of different aspects here. Obviously, the first one is that he can contend with his enemy over on the east side by pulling out some Kremlins, some Kremlin gremlins, I think is what DeMusliM was calling them yesterday. I kind of like that name. That was a pretty cute name, I thought.
Did he hop on board with it as well? Hell yes. Dude, I've been like straight away as my name.
Have you been pushing Kremlin gremlins for a long time?
I think us Brits just like the term. It sounds good, right? Like it just made sense to me straight away because I almost feel like when they come out chasing you, they should be like chasing you along, right? Like they are psychotic maniacs.
On season 5 when they release the cosmetics, I can't wait for a little gremlin cosmetic.
At Christmas?
That's just gonna be...
Yes, it's there we go.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good. Oh gosh. All right. Well, we'll have to see how that one goes. But age ups come through. What have we got for VortiX? We'll take a look and see. But I suspect the gremlins are on the way.
Well, in the meantime, these permanent gremlins will be able to hang around and maybe burn through the wall. But after that, no bueno. The only option remaining for MarineLorD is to get on the wall himself. You see, he did delay his timing on building the dock up for when the Deerstone came through. So he's going to be able to get the initial Springwood out to be a frustration. Or is he? Well,
this is starting to look a little bit concerning for MarineLorD. If this dock doesn't get up,
wait.
There could be trouble.
Do Star Wars music, right? He's got to be a stormtrooper right now. Da 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 da. It's working, Drongo. He's going to get it. Dun 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 dun. He gets it up.
Oh no, did he? Is it up?
Yep, it's operational. It's a fully
Wow.
operational Death Star. And it's sending out the Springles.
That was impressive, Micro. I was like, yeah, I don't even know why he's bothering. There's no way he gets this up. But
I mean, it's the potato aim of these ships. Like, there's a reason I call them stormtroopers, right? Like, you saw that. The Archer ship flurries, like, it's a very weird one. I don't honestly know how the hitboxes work for it. I feel like the hitbox is about, 2 inches to the side of where the arrow goes. It's some magical bullet fury thing sometimes.
Remember when Age of Empires 4 came out and everyone was screaming and because archers had homing missiles in their bows?
Kind of miss it, right?
Can you imagine what it would be like if they didn't have homing missiles? Like that's just you don't want that. That's not fun. That's not fun.
Oh yeah, like, okay, hear me out. Like, but how about this for a cool concept for a new unit? The scatter boy, right? So he just shoots a bunch of arrows much quicker, but like they go all over the place. That would probably be broken at scale, but I don't know.
That would totally be broken because you just get 100 of them and they just go.
Yeah, but like, then it's funny because finally something will beat Chuganu. So.
That was my first thought when you said scatterboys. I'm like, oh, they already got it. It's the Chuganu.
Oh yeah, you just need the Chuganu guys to like wield their guns like mobsters from the what was it, 60s or whatever, right? With the Tommy guns. Just get the repeater crossbow ready.
All right, well, additional dock looking to get put down here. MarineLorD not going to be successful with that one. It does get pushed back, but VortiX able to hold the water for the moment. And keep in mind, he maintains a pretty healthy economic lead here. We don't see him posturing towards a castle age just yet, but the Khan does go down. And with the Khan going down, expect MarineLorD to tap out any second now.
That's fine. You just hope that his wife was pregnant before he died, and I'm sure there'll be a new Khan along, like Kublai or someone at some point soon. It's fine.
Did you see that villager snipe right there? I don't know how VortiX just pulled it off, but he sniped that villager from downtown. That was 3 points. I saw the umpire. He had his fingers up in the air. That was 3.
Maybe it's maybe this roof ship is manned by English sailors. They do have extra range, right? That's the only thing I can think about there. I mean, that. Once again, archer ships, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I can really say on that matter. Like, I don't think it happens anymore, but I could have sworn when it first got introduced, like, you could kind of shoot at structures and clip further, even on docks. But now it's like you can only do that with things like towers that have smaller hitboxes, so the villages are naturally closer to the center.
All right, well, bit of a raid coming in on this south side now. Spears together with archers. He's going to be able to lock down this wood line for the moment. Keep in mind, we don't have that front wood spawn. It's a double side spawn here. MarineLorD starting to put together a bit of a navy. Realizes he's behind. In fact, he's behind quite a bit. Down 10 villagers already at this point in the game. That's a significant deficit, KP.
It is, but like there are ways you can make up for this with the way the map is generated and with where MarineLorD put that Kremlin, right? It defended his front side, but you see how exposed these wood lines are, right? Even this backside one, it's going to force him to go into some pricey knights that for the moment can't dominate. As long as MarineLorD keeps pushing spears and upgrading them to hardened as he is, there's going to be a way for him to still come in and just idle out the rest of Vortex's wood line.
Well, it looks like MarineLorD's opting to play a bit more of a heavy feudal age.
Yeah.
At the same time, VortiX, that's quite a fair few ships out on the water for the moment. Looking to try and protect his investment so far. Do we have any fishing boats out for MarineLorD? I did see one out there, but it did get taken out.
There's one shoreline fishing still, I think. But oh, no. He just, okay, not at all. So he's given up on this idea of prolonged feudal, though. Like, look at his resource bank. He's hoarding. But there's a very small window, right? A very small, opportunity to thread here. Because VortiX does have fish. And that's why MarineLorD decided that, like, prolonging this feudal probably isn't to his benefit, as he has no clear way of stopping the fishing from occurring.
Yeah, good call. All right, we'll push on the front side. There's going to be blocking out a fair few of those gold collectors for the moment. And where do we go from here? I mean, MarineLorD, he needs to find a way back into this game. Yeah. He thinks it's going to be through castle. He could probably look to go castle and flood knights, but even if he does that, VortiX has got the potential to defend. He's got his own knight, so he should be able to hold off. He's got the gremlins he can call if he gets into a bit of a tough spot.
You could just try to go a little bit slower about it, right? Like play crossbow comp. You have to remember this map is really short, and VortiX hasn't walled himself in. He doesn't have a way to. For the moment, we are seeing a few new units added by MarineLorD, but this is all kind of like tempo aggression, right? Like he needs to force VortiX to keep investing, but you always see that whenever someone's hoarding over half of what's required for a tech up, it is in the back of their mind that they want to do it. They're just waiting for the prime opportunity.
All right, well, Spear's going to be able to pick up a free knight. Very nice. I'll take it. One knight going to go down. Second one almost losing its life as well, but a bit of a raid over on the gold. And all of a sudden, MarineLorD starting to fall apart. Watch out, MarineLorD. You need those villagers. Interesting thing to note is he added in a second Rax, which means he's probably thinking about going to Men-at-Arms.
Yeah, I like that. It's a short-read map, right? I mentioned crossbows, but Men-at-Arms lets you flood, similar to what you saw yesterday with the Burgrave build. It's just this idea of shutting everything down. And, man, MarineLorD has been on point with doing that so far. Like, it feels like VortiX at any given time, I want to say like almost a fifth of his eco has to do something other than gather, right? Run away or try to build something up to defend. Whether it's land or sea. It just seems that MarineLorD has him checked on both fronts and now is going to move ahead. Step redoubt is on the way.
And not only is a step redoubt on the way, but we've also got an anonymous gifter coming in hot with 20 gifted subs. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you're from. I don't know what your name is. But I like the cut of your jib.
But we won't find you. Just keep doing that. There's no threat behind this. The threat is a good time if you keep subbing like that, allowing people not get blocked out by ads, allowing EGC to keep running tournaments like this, allowing the prize pools to still remain delicious to the point that these guys are fighting tooth and nail for the difference of $1,500 for whoever wins this. Whew. Feels good to say.
In addition to that, another big shout out as well to DeMusliM. We got lots of shout outs going around right now. KP, anybody you want to shout out? I'm shouting out everybody. Thank you very much to DeMusliM. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, everybody.
Shout out to Bill Gates. We needed the PC and Microsoft to make this happen. Shout out to that small Mongol fleet desperately holding on. Shout out to my mum. I wouldn't be able to be here to watch this game if it wasn't for you. Kind of required, biology-wise. And shout out to somehow MarineLorD still making this a better exchange when it looks like he's outnumbered every time on the sea.
I'm impressed by this Gert. It has got some tenacity to sit there in front of MarineLorD's wood line and just it doesn't.
Did you call him MarineLorD?
MarineLorD, yes.
Okay, that's his official nickname whenever he's turtling in a game, which is like never because MarineLorD is always the aggro guy.
He is, isn't he? All right, well, the age-ups come through for MarineLorD. Interestingly, we don't see any Men-at-Arms just yet. He's just looking to stick it out on those OG units, but got an archer in queue. There's the Men-at-Arms finally coming through for MarineLorD. And a little bit of a raid on that backside.
They ain't looking that lardy, are they? Not when they move that quickly. No wheelbarrow here. That's just the YAM network, so we'll allow him to disengage for the time being. But just idling him out. Like, the problem for VortiX is this doesn't really achieve any real goal. Like, sure, you know, losing out on your wood for a moment is annoying, but we know MarineLorD already has the Raxes. He already has the ability to push Men-at-Arms, and they are on their way across now.
This is an interesting TC decision. Rationalize this one for me. In what world is this TC a smart decision coming through from VortiX?
I need food. I need it bad, Drongo. Don't judge me. I'm shoreline fishing. I'm a roost player shoreline fishing. What more do you want? Is that enough justification?
That's a good call. That's a good call. I mean, MarineLorD's managed to push him back pretty effectively on this backside, so he obviously needs food in a jiffy. I'm just trying to think, like, that seems like a crazy spot putting it so far forward, especially up against MarineLorD.
You have, like, where, okay, so consider this. Your option is close to base where you can run home when you get clapped by a few Men-at-Arms, or you, like, build it on the other deer stack really far behind your base.
Demo ships, those things do so much damn health, don't they? Oh, my lord. Is VortiX losing the water right now?
He really is. Like, this is getting grim quickly. MarineLorD, man. Once again, like, Beastie played great yesterday, but like MarineLorD today compared to yesterday, like it's day and night difference, right? Like, I think he's really clean here, and that's not to say Beastie wasn't yesterday. Beastie played phenomenally well, but like there was something missing about like MarineLorD's raiding potential, his multi-pronged assault. Like, but watching the way he was able to win the pond here today, I'm like, damn. That, like, this is the MarineLorD we're used to seeing, right? Like, it's kind of crazy how easily he pushed VortiX off here.
I'm curious how long this TC is going to last and whether it does, because that's the part that gets me, right? Like, it just seems it's very far forward, that's all. And on a map like this, but who knows? Maybe VortiX realizes that with the barracks that MarineLorD is going to take the low ground, and by taking the low ground, he's not going to really feel the need to go up there. But look at all those gremlins coming out. Oh, KP, hello.
Oh, it's Christmas. Christmas for VortiX right now. He's going to rush in. Now, of course, there isn't too much he can immediately slap because it looks like the eco's moved away from its initial holding. But MarineLorD, like, consider how long Vortex has to run with this. This is one of the dangers of a map like Golden Heights. You spawn quite close to each other. So by the time they reach your backside, your eco line, they're still going to have like 40 seconds in the chamber.
All right, well, 40 seconds to go. They look to begin sieging things down. He's got 21 of them out at the moment.
Just go in. I think he's worried about getting rid of the Yam so you can chase down better here, but like this is just a dive opportunity. Like, take it all for as long as you can. There's going to be a pushback, a retreat coming in, and the Gremlins giggle to themselves. But the choke points work against them. And they're running out of time. But even after they're gone, Drongo, like, look at the size of these armies. I still think VortiX can sit here.
Like, he can sit here for now, but you wait 20 seconds and it'll be a different story. But I don't know whether MarineLorD's going to have 20 seconds. He's spent a lot of resources invested over on the water, and as a result, it means that there's not a lot of units left to defend here. All the villagers on the wood line looking to try and keep themselves alive, instead turn their daggers towards the knights, and it looks like it might be good night now for MarineLorD.
Yeah, your knives aren't sharp enough, boys. You've been too busy blunting them, chopping down trees. They are not going to get through that armor. VortiX, the commitment here, has absolutely spanked MarineLorD. Remember, MarineLorD may have just gotten control of water, but he's not utilizing it himself. I think he's maybe got the first fishing boats coming out, but he's full land eco, and he has none of it. Look at his income, food and gold. You put those together, and you can maybe afford a Klondike bar if you're lucky.
Klondike bar.
That does sound good.
Have a look at the village difference between these two guys. 17 villages right now. That is a huge difference, considering how small these economies are. 55 versus 38 villages. That's a massive difference, and it means that this town center all of a sudden is a lot safer just simply because of the tempo difference. MarineLorD, he got up to the castle age, but instead of investing his resources on the land and opting for a push there, he decided, I'm going to challenge on the sea. And he managed to take out the sea, but at what cost?
Yeah, and like the worry for me is, you know, you see MarineLorD, he's kind of getting it back. He's saying, I'm not out yet. I can still find a way here. I have got fishing. I do need time, though. And what you saw was a dangerous move on land, but one he has to make. He's now trying to play for the relics. VortiX already has knights, so he can be a nuisance in that regard. And sir, you're a boat, not a, I don't think I got the memo, Drongo.
Is it a demo ship, though? I genuinely can't tell if that's a demo ship or a fishing ship, because I thought demo ships are meant to be on fire.
It's definitely like wait, what? Yeah, but the worst part is when you zoom in, it looked like it had fishing nets on the back. So I was actually going to say it's definitely a fishing boat, Drongo. I don't know what you're talking about. Wait, what?
Okay. Well, we fish with explosives now, all right? So that's the new way it goes down. But I mean, VortiX has done a great job in pulling himself back into this game, but you can't help but feel like the pressure he was exerting has caused MarineLorD to make these mistakes. And it's definitely an interesting conundrum that you're in, where it's like, well, I've gone castle age, but he didn't look to really do anything with it. We saw a couple of men-at-arms out, but there was no real difference in the way that he played. I can't help but feel like he could have done this in the feudal age.
I mean, he was hogtied, right? Like, where was his food sources coming from? You know, the fishing came in on a delay. I don't think he had that many sheep to work with in the remainder. I think there was a gap there that makes this men-at-arms play even feel a little bit too pricey, even though it's much cheaper than Lancers. Like, the logic is that you need a lot more, right, to get stuff done. You know, the cool thing about that little raid there by MarineLorD, by the way, is it actually helped VortiX because it made him realize there was no wheelbarrow. So, like, those villagers running back slowly is like, here we go. We're 20 minutes into a game. Let's get that finally. So, yeah, you saw how pathetic their raid was against unwheelbarrowed villagers. That's definitely the correct term. Now I'm not really sure what they're meant to kill. I think MarineLorD has to take a much slower approach and maybe look towards, like, you know, prolonged siege with outpost crawl like we've seen in the past from the Mongols.
One of the things I'd like to call attention to is just the trap that water can be at this point in the game. Don't get me wrong, like, water's great to have early on. But if your enemy's sitting on 2 town centers, if we're 15, 14 minutes into the game, they've got a lot more villages than what they did at the 3-minute mark or the 2-minute mark. You're creating 3 vills a minute from every town center you've got. So if you're on the board for 10 minutes more, you're talking about 30 extra villages. So the dent in your economy that those fishing boats are going to make is just so minute. It's so irrelevant at this point in the game.
That's a really fair point, right? The logic on why fishing's so strong is because you do it straight away, and it's like having a second town center in a way, right? Only for food, but it kind of feels that way. And at that point in the game, to what you're saying, you know, if I add 1 fishing boat in very early on, it's a notable percentage of my overall economy. At this stage, it's admittedly going to be like a noticeable percentage of MarineLorD's economy if he loses like most of his villages, but otherwise it's just like it's a drop in the pond, right? It's barely noticeable.
Very well said. Yes. But yeah, that's exactly it. But we do see relics now going to start to get picked up.
Oh, no,
MarineLorD going to be losing the first of his shamans.
He's got a few more where that came
already.
from, though, right? Like, I think, yes, he's got another one in the queue. Looking at the relic spawns, like, he's on the clock because the Roost, they went up with the Abbey Trinity, so VortiX is going to be playing for them as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he just camps that relic, because it's really tempting for a player in that position to just send the Monk alone to pick it up again, and all of a sudden it just costs you another 150 gold.
Yeah, you throw it away, don't you?
Yeah, it's like, well, you shouldn't have to guard him, right? Like, well, I've got to do things elsewhere. There's no way, there's no way, Drongo, someone would dive my TC, right, with Knights, right?
Yeah, definitely no way. But we do see MarineLorD has added in a second town center now, so that's a great way for him to actually keep up with his enemy. Obviously, he's not going to close the gap, but he will keep up with it. Over on water, I think he's maxed out on his fishing boats for now. But still, he's lost a lot of villagers this game, so he's got quite a ways to go until he's managed to reach where he needs to.
And he's playing against Knights without the ability to wall. I mean, like, come on, MarineLorD. Why don't you just, like, put up some walls so you can... Oh, that's right. The Mongols can't do that.
Not anymore. I took that away from them.
A long, long time ago.
It was about 3,000. No, it wasn't that long.
3,000 down. The Mongol Empire had, like, second rising. Khan didn't do it first. Got it.
It's been going for a long time, but Archer's starting to tee off now. These guys have got a great little spot. Spring on emplacement. Going to be holding it down as the men-at-arms look to put on some pressure. The gold is contested at the moment. Villagers trying their best to gather up, but you can see that the archers are just able to pick them off so well. Crossbows together with the archers on the backside, and the movement speed arrow is going to go off right there, KP.
And the crazy part is, like, just how good of a job VortiX done of diving his archers into the mosh pit and just targeting out with the crossbows. That's the reason he won this fight. That's the reason MarineLorD cannot defend anymore, and that is the reason we are going to get treated to a third game, a deciding game to see who will be our third place taker here in Golden League 2.
Incredibly well played there by VortiX. I think he just realized that if I can force MarineLorD to throw a bit more resources onto the pond than what he should be throwing, I can use that to my advantage. And I think that was exactly what he did. A lot of people might have looked to have thrown down a second dock in that situation or continue producing more and more units. And he didn't do that. He just said, let it go. Let it go. I don't want to be on water anymore. And he did it. And he did it well. And as a result, we're rewarded for game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, let it go feels appropriate. The way he kind of got frozen out there but still finds a way to recover was impressive. And, you know, I think the big lesson here is when you look back at the early game, like the mid-game from VortiX, something that was really impressive from him is he was holding on to, like, eventually 500 stone. We eventually saw the TC, right? But that wasn't an immediate commitment. You got to ask, why? And, like, well, that's the interesting part, I think, that happened here, is I think part of it was that he was hoping to get some emplacements in that got denied. But this is also VortiX asking why. Why would Lordy please do it? And right here in the pit, I'm once again going to be saying, please. Oh, please, Lordy, do it. Trade on trade. Let's make it happen, boys. It's only like, you know, $1,500 on the line here, right?
Well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 3. We got ourselves a cracker of a game already as MarineLorD drops down a very early barracks. Take a look at this one, KP. Not something we often see from the Ottoman player.
And I think the logic behind this is that, you know, for most maps, we've noticed that gold veins spawn a bit further away out of the safe range. And an interesting thing that has been happening, I feel like it happens like most times for the northern player at least, is like your gold vein seems to be ahead of your base. Like this spawn that VortiX has, I see it all the time. It's weirdly, it's like, it's either to the east side or like once in a blue moon, you'll get it where the berry patch is for VortiX. But most of the time, your gold is closer to your enemy. And it seems like MarineLorD wants to exploit that.
The game that MarineLorD lost on this map when he played the Abbasid and he went for the trade wing was a game where his gold had spawned to the front and his stone mine had spawned right next to it as well. And a single tower shut them both down. So it looks like he's kind of said, well, I know that the map doesn't spawn well and I'm just going to look to exploit it. So
and he's going to get the info quite quick, right? He's checking this side first. He's going to realize there's no secondary tree line. After that, you know, he can easily put the pieces together, right? Because if one player gets a secondary tree line, the other one does. That's the way pretty much any of the finely tuned or quality assured maps in the pool work. So this should be pretty informative. I'm expecting the second spearman will probably go the other way around. Oh, no, he's just Congo line. He's going a long way around.
This is the interesting. Yeah, to me, I'm kind of interested that he didn't send the scout out after the first loop. You can see he's looped up towards the top side of the map and then come back around over towards the west side, back to the TC. Normally after that, you'd expect to loop around because now that spearman is going to be a dead spearman. Yeah, very, very quick death that guy took. But yeah, like it's a huge early loss for MarineLorD, but my suspicion is he might be thinking to commit quite heavily to the feudal age. So he doesn't really mind losing these units. It's not as impactful for him.
Yeah, like honestly, if these spearmen just burn for a few houses, like it's immense value because like we always talk about the cost, right? Like, oh, VortiX had to walk out and build these for 25 wood each. Yeah, but then he also has to replace them. Then he also has to potentially build even more houses ahead of time to avoid being capped. So it's definitely a frustration that's worthwhile. MarineLorD's probably going to stop at, I want to say, maybe 6 spearmen because you can't do this forever, right? Like if VortiX is teching up, which he is, he's just going to build a few archers. Or even if you just went Donzos, like either way, he'd have a way of beating you there. So don't expect MarineLorD to do much more than like 5 or 6 spears max.
All right. Well, yeah, it looks like he's just kind of chilled for the moment. We'll check in over with his bases. The age up does come through now for VortiX. Expect him to move through to archers relatively quickly, but he's going to lose a number of houses before he really gets the chance to do it. Mining camp going to be coming up as well for MarineLorD, so that age up going to be coming through shortly. Just the 4 vills on gold, though.
And I think you expect a Marlin player to want to add archers in eventually, right? But like what MarineLorD's doing here is he's controlling the script, and he's saying, well, you have to add them first, as opposed to that annoying warrior scout mass that you can potentially get into. And the reason that that kind of script controlling is important is it means you're playing into the Ottoman strength, right? What does an Ottoman player want to build more than any other unit when he reaches feudal age?
Sabai.
True, but also archers, right? Like I think archers is still because it's cost efficient. Like I get where you come from. Sapai is definitely catching in and it's really strong, but like if you think about what is the building that Ottoman players build at the start of feudal age outside of a military school, it's always an archery range, right? It's very rarely a stables.
You know, I should have just gone with a unit like the Janus.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna do it, right? I was like, I'll throw it. Like, let's have a conversation here. I'm like, well, I'm a troll. I can appreciate what he's done here. Let me just
like having a conversation with the 6-year-old. You ask them what they want for breakfast, and they say, firefighting truck. And you're like, that you
good. Yeah. No. I would put that fire truck down front. I was like, let him eat cake. Cake being a fire truck in this situation. I mean, I'm not going to lie. If you'd given me that question, my answer would have been build a bunch more spearmen, then spawn the imam. That's your first feudal unit. Boom.
Yeah, true. That works as well. All right, well, the archers are out now for MarineLorD. Do we see him move into military schools? It doesn't seem like it is the case just yet. So still got that 50 stone in the bank. Keep in mind the Ottomans do start with that 50 stone. But could look to move over onto it. But there'll be a noticeable lack of Sipahi here. Just because there's no military schools. You don't want to pay for those things. Those things are incredibly expensive when it comes to food.
Well, it's like, do you really want to build them against scouts in small numbers? Warrior scouts? Like, scale?
Not
sure.
really.
But yeah, small numbers, I mean, you can do it. Like, there are many things you can do, though, Drongo. Like, technically, you could eat crap.
Technically, you could. You could have a dirt sandwich.
Yeah.
But we're not in the business of dirt sandwiches.
But should you? Right?
I mean, whatever you want to do on your Friday nights, KP, I'll let you do it. But
not on a Monday morning. Well, we're on a Sunday, right? So definitely not tonight, guys.
No, we got work tomorrow. All right, well, the archer mass is beginning to build. Wheelbarrow coming through at the moment for MarineLorD. I'm expecting him. Do you reckon he's going to go? I'm going to go with double broadaxe, and he's going to look to play a heavy archer style, as you mentioned.
Yeah. It's the most logical, right? He has got a bit catching up to do. Like, VortiX is already massing more archers. MarineLorD should be aware that he's behind on these timings. He could just go for that Sapai play you talked about because of that delay. But I just think, because you got Drummer Boy, archers just make so much sense. And the cool thing about just having a few spearmen at the beginning here is, like, they're going to die, but they're going to waste the Malians' archer shots in the meantime, right? Like, they are the cannon fodder to allow your smaller archer numbers to win.
Yeah, that's a good call. All right, well, the resources are slowly building, and we see the first of the military schools coming down. Together with the blacksmith, a couple spears here going to be looking to repel this attack. The meta going to be helping out on the defense, but it looks like there's not enough numbers here just yet.
Oh, wow.
Going to be calling on the town center for some assistance, but this is not going well for MarineLorD early on in this feudal age.
Yeah, and VortiX, he's leveraging the layering of the base from MarineLorD. Like, something that MarineLorD done that is usually kind of seen as quite a big whoopsie is because he wanted to remain optimal with his villages' idle time, so he built the houses on the east side, he had to build the Madrasa on the northwest. The reason this is important is they're your food gatherers, right? Think about every time you're gathering like sheep and you see an enemy come nearby and you just garrison. He doesn't have that option because they have to walk for several seconds to get inside to give you that defensive firepower.
Yeah, it's a bit of a curious decision. I wonder what the thinking was behind that, because had he gone on that south side, he would have been able to hit the berries as well.
So I think
we do see the double broad axe. Oh yeah, go for it.
So like, I think the logic is like, because you got the houses there, right? So he's minimizing idle time to build houses. It might have also been the straggler trees because I didn't quite see where they were. And then he wants to reserve the other side behind his base for his military buildings, right? Because there's going to be a delayed build up there. So I think like everything he done there was about optimizing the first 2 minutes, but it does cost him in terms of his defensive capabilities now.
And the consequences, we lose a villager for it. But we do have parity coming through finally. The warrior scout up against the Spahi. The double broad axe. So expect to see that big timing push that we're used to seeing out of the Ottomans here. Doesn't look like there's going to be any fast castle attempt at this point. Over on the other side of the map, though, VortiX starting to stack up that gold. But obviously, a civilization like the Malians, it loves to trickle it in slowly but steadily over time. So it's quite normal to see.
It's interesting that he actually never went for the archers, but I guess the thought process from MarineLorD is like, A, I was second to tech up, so I'm already behind a mass. And you're not going to get an immediate win out of archer mass, right? So the more likely outcome is you stagnate the feudal, and then eventually like you're up against the Malians, so they'll either add in scouts or sofas and you lose, right? So I actually do prefer this approach to MarineLorD, just creating a giant melee mosh pit.
All right, well, we'll see how it unfolds. So I'm curious to see exactly what MarineLorD's base looks like at the moment and how many ranges he's added in. That's going to be key for me because that's going to tell us exactly what his plans are up to, because he does have options. He can still look to play Castle Age, even though he's picked up double broadaxe, which is a bit of a signal that he's not going to be doing that. But it's to me, it seems like it's much more of a feudal push potentially coming through here. Remember, the Ottoman's push is one of the strongest in feudal age that there is. We've seen it go up against 3 sacred site Delhi successfully.
Yeah, but
I suspect against the Malians, it shouldn't have too many issues.
I think the issue for him is like reaching that mass though, right? Because if you look at the comps, I'd say VortiX right now, he benefits from poking, right? That's the benefit of going archers. MarineLorD kind of has to just dodge the affair. What he's doing really well right now is he's keeping VortiX away from his base. So VortiX is reacting instead of being proactive. This plays to your advantage with what he's doing, and I believe, yeah, he's now surging the transition. This is really important. I love to see this. He's got 5 archers in queue, so he's kind of lulled VortiX into a false sense of security with his current comp, and now I think he's going to try to hide the fact he has archers until he's got enough to win a fight.
Keep in mind the archers for the Ottomans are some of the best in the feudal age. They can choose between having extra armor or extra attack speed, and they get that extra movement speed as well. It's just
disgusting. Vile.
Around. Yes. But keep in mind, though, obviously javelins are a factor when you're playing up against the Malians, but once again, you lose that factor once you start talking about the mass that the Ottomans do like to build. Often we see Ottoman players push upwards of 40, 50, 60 archers together in a big block. And javelins, well, they have trouble dealing with that.
Yeah, and this is a dangerous point for VortiX, right? Like, he wants to get in and probe that wood line, but if he goes in any deeper, there'll be a flank attack, especially when he sees MarineLorD is sending the cavalry back now. So, chooses to back away, says 1 scalp will do for now. I'll be back for more later.
All right, well, the numbers are starting to build for MarineLorD and VortiX. VortiX, I'm not sure if you realize this, but you are running into danger, friend.
There's no way you can easily get away, right? You're going to have to sacrifice the Donzos to leave. And after that, supply will still keep chasing. Like, this is the stupidity of the meta, right? Like, you cannot run. Why are you even running?
That's a good call. That's part of the reason why it's so good. At first, when you said the meta, I was like, there's nothing wrong with this meta. I kind of like the aggression in the feudal age and the raiding and the maneuverability of the units. And then I realized that you were talking about the meta. It made a lot more sense. But we do start to see upgrades coming through. Interestingly, for MarineLorD, we've got probably the big ticket item. It's siege engineering. This is a technology you're not going to see unless someone is intent on taking you out today, right now, right here. And that's exactly what MarineLorD's looking for. So expect to see that battering ram coming through shortly. The numbers are starting to build. He's already up 12 military population.
Oh, look at that. You went for the big gold vein. That's just, that's going to be more houses for me to burn and ram down. I mean, this is a good play by MarineLorD. Like, he's hit his timing. Look at the Sipahi count. If Vortex has got 10 warrior scouts, it just feels like a tickling. He needs to buy a bit of time. I like the fact he's adding in sofas, but the detriment he has to his build now is losing those Donzos. He has to die, rinse, repeat, right? He has to build up enough Donzos to deter MarineLorD's cavalry comp, and that is costing him production out of the sofa budget, shall we say.
The sofa budget.
The sofa budget.
It's important that we...
Do you want leather, right? Do you want faux? Oh, good lord.
Afford it. I don't have the budget for it, and it seems MarineLorD might not either, as he is getting hit in multiple spots, trying to get this battering ram up, but suffering at home as well as out on the field at the moment. You can see him getting surrounded back there, losing a number of villages, already up to 5, and that's going to be up to 7 as well. A spear going to help out, but I tell you what, trading warrior scouts for villages is always a good trade. I
mean, that was the best thing that Vortex could have done with these warrior scouts. The fact that he snuck in like that, like a thief in the night, and MarineLorD was so distracted by all these houses he's killing. You know, I wouldn't be worried about the houses, more about the people that are meant to be in them tonight, because MarineLorD has found himself 7 down overall. And remember, Vortex on top of that, he does have the passive goal at least ticking from 1 pit mine still. Of course, we do have to consider the passive production of the Ottomans, but I think there is a point now where MarineLorD kind of feels like he needs to do more, and it looks like he's wrapping around to go back for that 2nd pit mine.
Yeah, I find it curious. MarineLorD yet to wall himself in. Often we do see players look to wall themselves in on these little, I'd almost be tempted to call it a crevice. I don't know, a cutout maybe is the better way to call it. But yeah, interestingly, no walls here. So unfortunately, the village is still somewhat exposed because there's going to be a 2nd raid coming through from VortiX once again in that exact same spot. Take a look at this. He hasn't learned his lesson from the first time. Does leave a spearman back here this time. A couple more units rallied towards his position. Might be able to help in the meantime. At the same time, towards the enemy base, VortiX, let's have a look over towards that side, because we've got to push on the other pit mine, KB.
I'm not sure if he can get in here, though. Like, these choke points work against him. Consider MarineLorD's comp. He's got a lot of melee in there as well, and the Sipahi needed to win this. So I think he has to burn down the houses before he takes the stage fight. Problem for him is that ram is, if I'm not mistaken, that ram is now going back home. Yep.
He's having a little bit of a walk.
He's homesick.
He's exploring.
He misses the trees he once was, you know?
I was thinking about the berries, but what business does a ram have with berries?
Oh, yeah, I'm peckish today. You know, usually I settle for, like, the blood of my enemies, but berries are red too. We'll go for that.
All right, well, the numbers continue building for MarineLorD. He's up about 13 military population at the moment. It's looking good.
Getting through the infrastructure now.
All right.
This might be where VortiX has to fight. Like, he needs all the production he can get. You can see MarineLorD still has mass advantage, like 72 military to 59. But are we back again? Oh yeah, we're here again.
We're back again. So yeah, it's curious to me. He hasn't deleted the lumber camp. That's not the delete the first lumber camp, and then just draw a wall across it and just make sure your vills don't go anywhere near it. Pop a little gate in there for any more vills that you want there. It probably costs you less than 100 wood to do it.
Okay, hear me out.
Keeps you really safe.
You just build you actually build a gate. You build a long wall, and that's it. But like you leave an opening, and you just Benny Hills back and forth every time. Not at this scale, but like imagine a guy with like 20 French knights, if he for some reason picks the French, is doing that. Oh, it's the best feel in the world. But I agree on the walls.
I can tell you now, the grand final, it's 9 games. They need to pick unique civs. The French won't get picked in any of them.
You're right. There's 10 civs. So we tried. Clash coming in.
All right, well, the numbers...
is a GG clash, I think.
Definitely is. You can see the Donzos over towards that east side trying to get in, but they've completely just blitzed the front line. Take a look at the Sofa as they continue making their way through. Spears getting a good little block. He's got a great little point, a little choke point here, KP.
He's looking good with the Sofa mass, but like I'm still seeing the numbers. He needs to do more damage. He needs to pursue this. That was so scary as well. MarineLorD got kind of lulled into a false sense of security. Like, where are the Sofas? Where are they at? The delayed response looked good, but even at the end of the day, because the meta lasted so long, that attack speed came through. Where are the Sofas now? They've been thrown into a dumpster fire.
Yeah, they've been thrown into a dumpster fire. With that meta, the meta just kind of decided to give himself up. But at least the mass is still here from VortiX. He is down significantly, though. About 66% of his enemies' entire military production is all he's got at the moment. So trying his best. He's losing his own production as well. Take a look at this. He's lost out, what is it, a stable and an archery range? A barracks by the look of it?
Yeah, and then there's all those houses, losing 2 pit mines. He's rebuilding them on the other side of the map, so he will, you know, come to strike another day. But wait, MarineLorD, why are we take the ram in? There's nothing to kill it now, bud. You killed all the melee. this ram has...
He's missing.
Dude, I mean,
missing home.
I've been engaged for years, and this ram has clearly bigger commitment issues than me. I mean, this is getting ridiculous.
All right, well, the numbers continue building for MarineLorD. He's double the enemy population at the moment. Everything is just pumping non-stop. Now, keep in mind, he's lost a fair few villagers this game. A difference at the moment of 6 vills between these two players, and both of them committed to playing one base for the moment. VortiX on the defense, yet to throw in any javelin throwers, despite this mass of archers that have come out for MarineLorD. An interesting decision by him. Will he live to regret it, KP?
I think he's gonna. I mean, it doesn't matter if you live, right? As long as you live longer than your opponent. Remember, this is the deciding game. I think this push can do enough damage to like put him in a position where he can either like double down on the game end state or tech up. But when I look at that archer mass, I'm pretty sure MarineLorD just wants to go and have a nap now. So he wants this over and done with.
All right. Well, in classic French style, he's looking for that nap. I think he might try and put VortiX into it first, though. We still don't see any javelin throwers in queue. I would have thought around this time is when the javelin would have actually reached its stride, where it would have been strongest. But you can see he's still just moving into full archers. And in the feudal age up against the meta buffed archers, it makes it so difficult playing up against these units.
Yeah, because they can just chase you down, right? So let's say he did start building javelins now. They just die one by one before they could mass. It's just such an ugly position to be in. And now, I mean, VortiX, he's found on your houses again. Is it time to experience like pop cap issues? I think he's got maybe enough behind this, but the only thing you can really gather right now is gold. And you know, don't get me wrong, Drongo. Marlins with gold is pretty strong, but usually it's when they have a 3 on their tech, not a 2.
Take a look at all the cows sitting under the town center of VortiX. He's having a very nice day. He's got the barbecue ready. Little bit of a spa up on the top side. Also finding some villagers. So he's actually working those villager kills in. Only 2 difference between them. And MarineLorD's still taking out these vills. VortiX hasn't woken up to this fact yet.
It's like the problem now is MarineLorD's army is getting so big that he can split off and go on the flanks more freely, right? Like you just saw that. We've been watching that army outside VortiX's base. Yo, that's platoon 1, okay? The Hellhounds, platoon 2, are coming in the north, and they're gonna burn everything on arrival.
Find me those people who were talking shit about the Spahi and show them the last minute of this Spahi just single-handedly okay, don't worry about the Spahi.
I think
guy.
that
was having
was
a great time.
That was a Sapar he. You know, he's a little funny guy. You don't count him. He was having a good time. But tell me about these Sapar.
Well, yeah, these ones are a whole different action or different ball game. But look at the numbers that are coming out right now. VortiX trying to push out. A little bit curious of a timing here. He's going to try his best, but the numbers from MarineLorD are just way too big. And good game gets called. That is it. Your third placed match is going to be going over to MarineLorD. He is going to be our victor today.
That's right. And of course, he only is able to get the 3rd spot, though. Remember, there's single elim format. He done the best of what he could on this second day, and I think he will admit that he played his best today on the weekend. This was pretty clinical from him. I think I was really impressed, you know, even with how the series opened. Like, overall, it got better and better for him. That game 2, like, was an amazing turnaround for VortiX. But, like, you know, like, even in the early game, when you consider how MarineLorD played that out, I think this is the guy that we expect to turn up this weekend. And it's just a shame we only get to see him in the best of 3. I mean, I agree. I kind of wish it could have been a BO5. But commiserations to VortiX. He still does walk away with $5,000. But MarineLorD at least bumps up his pay a little bit. He gives himself a self-authorized improvement up to